43 years before the main events. A young, pretty woman, Rosie Jones, boards a train and checks her large, heavy suitcase into the luggage compartment. During his rounds, the train guard notices blood leaking from the suitcase. Frightened, he goes to Rosie and tells her there seems to be some kind of problem with her suitcase. She, however, does not look worried at all. When the train arrives at the station, the police are already waiting. Rosie is arrested and taken in for questioning. 2 bodies were found inside the suitcase. The woman explains that they are her husband and his mistress. After all, she could hardly just sit back and watch her husband leave her for another woman. Soon the trial takes place. Since the court accepts that Rosie committed such a horrific crime during a mental breakdown, she is sentenced to be detained indefinitely in a secure psychiatric hospital, unless and until the Home Secretary decides she no longer poses a threat to society. 43 years later. The parish of Little Wallop, population 57. Vicar Walter Goodfellow is so absorbed in his work that he completely fails to notice the problems that have recently appeared at home. His son Petey is being teased by the other boys at school, his 17-year-old daughter Holly keeps seeing different boys, and his wife Gloria seems to have lost control of everything a long time ago. Walter has no idea that things in his family are falling apart. He is consumed by the upcoming Vicar's Conference and has to write a speech. His marriage has long since grown cold, and Gloria starts eyeing her golf instructor, Lance. That night, Gloria cannot sleep because of the neighbor's barking dog. In the morning, the woman knocks on Mr. Brown's door and asks him to quiet his dog. But Brown merely slams the door in the vicar's wife's face. Gloria drives her son to school. Every day is an ordeal for Petey, because his classmates pick on him. The Goodfellow family hires a live-in housekeeper. Her suitcase, which looks very old-fashioned, has already been delivered. Walter says dreamily that in his favorite childhood books, there was always a chest full of treasure. Gloria tries to get a little tenderness and attention from her husband, but he seems to care only about his sermons. Walter even forgets to pick Petey up from school, although today it is his turn. Meanwhile, Petey's classmates shove him yet again. He cannot fight back. Suddenly, a kind-voiced old woman holds out her hand to the boy, while his parents are going out of their minds with worry. No one has seen Petey. He usually does not take the school bus, avoiding the boys from his class. Grace Hawkins, the Goodfellow's new housekeeper, brings Petey straight to his parents. The elderly woman quickly wins the affection and complete trust of her employers. The couple have already prepared a room of her own for Grace. With a smile, she says that everything is simply perfect. While Grace settles in, everyone in the household, along with Holly's latest boyfriend, David, wonders what might be in the suitcase. It is terribly heavy, so getting it upstairs will be a problem. Grace mysteriously explains that the suitcase contains memories, as well as a few items of clothing. Together they manage to haul the suitcase upstairs to Grace's room. Walter feels that the occasion deserves a short prayer. He expresses the hope that Grace will become a member of their family and be happy here. Wanting to feel like a woman again, Gloria begins secretly seeing Lance. She is terrified that someone, for instance the ever-watchful Mrs. Parker, might notice them. It would be a huge scandal. After all, Gloria is the vicar's wife. She would like to stop, but she no longer can. The neighbor's dog keeps barking, driving Gloria mad and robbing her of sleep. She complains to Grace. Whether it is a coincidence or not, that very night the dog falls silent, and for good. The next morning Mr. Brown cannot find his pet anywhere. Now that Grace is in the house, the family start having breakfast together again, something they have not done for a long time. This sweet old woman has brought warmth and a sense of care back into the home. Although his daughter is as always embarrassed by him, the vicar takes part in the annual football tournament. The whole village has come to watch. Grace casually notes that Walter is quite a handsome man. But Gloria has long since stopped looking at him that way. She is searching the crowd for Lance. Walter, who has been put in goal, lets in one ball after another. In the end, the goalkeeper is replaced. Walter is terribly upset. Lance approaches the vicar and strikes up a casual conversation with him. Walter only knows that Lance is Gloria's golf instructor. Until that moment, Mr. Goodfellow has never thought there might be anything more to it. Lance and Gloria are planning to go to Mexico, so they can spend time together far away from prying eyes. Walter sees them flirting by the football pitch, and suspicion begins to creep in. Grace sees the reckless lovers too and immediately understands what is going on. Mr. Brown puts up flyers about his missing pet. Gloria is even glad because now she can finally get some sleep. Grace merely says that every cloud has a silver lining. Gloria can no longer bear the fact that her son is being bullied at school, so she intends to speak to the teacher. She has left her phone in the car, and just at that moment Lance calls. Grace answers and hears Lance's voice, telling her what a wonderful time they will have on the beaches of Mexico. When the woman replies that it sounds like a very tempting offer, Lance quickly hangs up. That is how Grace knows for certain that Gloria is cheating on her husband. At home, while the housekeeper is making lunch, Gloria talks about her youth, how she started university and met Walter, who was already in his final year at the time. Walter had what the other young men lacked: responsibility, reliability and honesty. The woman sadly wonders, why having found God, Walter lost something no less important. Lance calls Gloria again. She pretends she is talking to her friend Lillian. The housekeeper understands that this is a lie. Grace cannot allow Gloria to destroy her marriage. Meanwhile, Gloria goes into town to meet Lance. At the same time, Walter is rehearsing his speech for the vicar's conference. He is terribly nervous about how it will all go. His rehearsal is interrupted by Grace's unexpected appearance. The elderly woman advises him to be less serious, and for example to lighten the sermon with a joke. Gloria and Lance retreat to his fishing cottage, but Gloria is too anxious for them to relax properly once again. Besides, she is upset that some woman has called him. Perhaps Lance has someone else. In any case, Gloria decides that this is enough for today and leaves. Following Grace's advice, Walter looks up religious jokes online. Some of them really do amuse him. While he is reading the jokes and laughing, Grace goes to meet Petey from school. Before the bell rings for break, Grace cuts the brake cables on the bicycle of Petey's main bully. As a result, the boy falls off his bicycle, followed by everyone else riding beside him. Petey's mood immediately improves. Holly brings home her new boyfriend, Grant. But before Gloria can find any words, she hears her husband reading religious jokes aloud. This is completely unlike him. But Gloria is even more surprised by the fact that her son is no longer afraid of the bullies, and her daughter is baking a pie in the kitchen. Gloria tries to understand what has changed and realizes that it is all thanks to Grace. That night, unable to sleep, Gloria notices Grace opening her large suitcase. What could the elderly woman be hiding inside? Sensing that something is eating away at Gloria, Grace tells her that men often lose their way, but not Walter. She says that her husband lost his head over another woman. Gloria does not even suspect that Grace is not speaking figuratively at all. From the suitcase, which also contains something rather heavy in a black plastic bag, Grace takes out her old photographs and shows them to Gloria. Some of them show Grace's husband, Arthur. For some reason his face seems familiar to Gloria. This conversation gives Gloria hope that perhaps not everything is lost for her marriage. She believes that Walter may still find his way back to her. That rainy night, Mr. Brown cannot sleep and once again searches for his missing dog. Suddenly the man notices Grace, who looks like such a sweet old woman, burying his pet in the garden. Taking advantage of Mr. Brown's confusion, Grace attacks him with a shovel. The next day Mr. Brown is nowhere to be seen. Gloria wonders where he could be. Grace says that Mr. Brown recently mentioned wanting to take a little holiday in paradise. Lance has already made arrangements with the travel agent and bought the tickets, so they are due to fly to Mexico tomorrow. Gloria is not ready and demands that Lance get a refund for the tickets, but he insists that they have to fly out tomorrow. In the end, Gloria gives in. This conversation takes place within earshot of Grace. Although the lovers try to pass their plans off as golf lessons, Grace of course understands everything. She is determined to act. While his wife is making holiday plans with her lover, Walter continues rehearsing his speech. He has even added a few jokes to it, so it should be less dull and solemn than usual. Grace hints to Walter that it is time he tore himself away from his rehearsal and finally paid attention to his wife. After all, marital duties have not been cancelled. He has been so busy serving God that he has completely forgotten about something no less important, his beautiful wife. While the spouse is given to passion, Lance is peeping through the window at Holly. In truth, he is more interested not in Gloria, but in her daughter. Noticing Lance outside with a camera, Grace, who is ironing at that very moment, picks up the iron and cold-bloodedly takes the man's life. He does not even have time to realize what is happening. The following morning, Walter's whole family sees him off to the vicar's conference. He is so nervous. Gloria promises that she will be thinking of him the entire time. Walter notes that Mr. Brown has not been seen for a while. That is not like him. Walter will be away for a couple of days. Before he leaves, Mrs. Parker tells him that their housekeeper spent a long time tinkering with a car last night. Walter objects, saying that Grace does not have a car. But whose car was it then? Mrs. Parker tells the vicar that she has often seen that car here. Walter does not know that it is Lance's car. Gloria goes to the meeting place with Lance, but only to tell him that it is over between them. Since the man never shows up and does not answer her calls, Gloria decides that he has gone to Mexico with another woman. On the news, there is a report about Rosie Jones, the so-called suitcase killer. When Holly and Gloria realize that Rosie is their housekeeper, Grace, they are horrified. Could this sweet, caring old woman really be a brutal criminal? Walter is about to speak in front of a large audience, and his anxiety keeps growing. But he has no idea what is happening at home right now. The mother and daughter decide to look inside Grace's suitcase, when suddenly they hear her footsteps approaching. They quickly hide under the bed. Grace does not notice them and leaves. Since her husband is away, Gloria calls Lance. At that very moment the suitcase starts vibrating, which means Lance's phone is inside. Gloria manages to end the call before Grace, who has heard the vibration too, comes back. But the housekeeper discovers them anyway when she calls Gloria back from Lance's phone. Walter gives his opening speech. At first, because of his stage fright, he mumbles in front of the audience, but very quickly he pulls himself together and relaxes. The audience laughs genuinely at his witty jokes. At last Grace, or rather Rosie, no longer has to pretend and can lay all her cards on the table. She takes Lance's camera out of the suitcase and shows them the recording. The scoundrel was spying on Holly. The girl screams in fury that she will teach Lance a lesson. Rosie assures them that this is no longer necessary. Right now Lance's body is in his own car. Rosie did this to stop Gloria from destroying her family over a foolish little affair. Holly hears for the first time that her mother had another man. Gloria still does not understand why Rosie interfered, since it was absolutely none of her business. But Rosie does not see it that way. Any mother would do the same for her daughter. Gloria looks at this woman in shock. She has never known her mother. Rosie was already pregnant when she was sent to a secure psychiatric hospital, so her daughter was taken into care. Gloria cannot process the fact that her mother is an extremely dangerous criminal. Rosie admits that Lance is not her only victim since her release. There are two more bodies to account for, Mr. Brown's dog and Mr. Brown himself. Rosie acted solely for the good of her daughter. When Walter finishes his speech, the hall bursts into applause. Meanwhile Gloria helps her own mother get rid of Lance's body. They are spotted by Mrs. Parker, as watchful and suspicious as ever. All they can do is hope that Mrs. Parker did not see anything specific. Rosie decides it would be best to hide the body in the pond, especially since Mr. Brown and his dog are already there. Holly agrees with Rosie that Walter does not need to know about any of it, not about his wife's lover, not about the bodies. Rosie says they will keep their mouths shut. It will be better for them that way. Gloria has not slept all night, trying to get her head around what happened. Rosie fears that Mrs. Parker may have seen something she should not have and suggests dealing with her. Gloria of course is absolutely against it. A minute later the doorbell rings. It is Mrs. Parker. Gloria tries to get the elderly woman to leave as quickly as possible, although as it happens she is not actually here about the bodies at all. But Rosie does not know that, and swings a frying pan at Mrs. Parker. The shock brings on a heart attack, and Mrs. Parker dies right there in the Goodfellow's house. Rosie is sure there is nothing to worry about, since it all looks like an accident, given Mrs. Parker's age. Suddenly Walter returns earlier than planned. Gloria distracts her husband so he does not realize that Mrs. Parker is dead, while Rosie and Holly try to think of a gentler way to break the news to him. Walter has come back early, because now he knows exactly what matters most in his life. He wants to make up for the lost time and give his beloved wife the attention he has denied her for so long. Gloria does not mind at all, but not right now, not when Mrs. Parker's lifeless body is lying in the next room. Soon the funeral takes place. After the service, everyone thanks the vicar for his wonderful sermon. Having made sure that her daughter and grandchildren are happy, Rosie prepares to leave. Mother and daughter hug each other tightly as they say goodbye. Despite everything, Gloria is happy to have found her mother. Of course Rosie will come to visit. Several months pass. Mother and daughter write letters to each other all the time. In one of them, Gloria says that Holly has a new admirer, one unlike any of the previous ones. Rosie would approve of him. Petey is doing wonderfully too. He has become a very confident young man. Walter and Gloria are enjoying each other. Their marriage has been given a second life and grown even stronger. The suitcase, by the way, has stayed here. Everything is going wonderfully until two workmen appear on the Goodfellow's doorstep. The local council has decided to drain the pond because there is a blue-green algae bloom in it, which could cause problems not only for the Goodfellows, but also for their neighbors. Gloria knows exactly who to turn to. In the final scene, we see the workmen's bodies at the bottom of the pond.